I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. I still mess up, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground. I always get enough to see what's next. Birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave, I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Zootopia Minute. I am your host, South Park Dallas. I'm going by that name for this series of episodes, and I'm joined by my co-host, Simul. Introduce
Hello.
yourself. Hello there.
I'm Simul again, still me.
You keep on saying hello, hello. You're like in the background raising your hand.
Hello, I'm here.
So, I am, first of all, a little off topic, I am super excited because I just got back from my first trip to Disney World.
Yes, that's right. How was that?
That was awesome. Did I tell you that I met with Nick Wilde?
I don't think you did. I saw a lot of your photos on Twitter. But-
You probably were photobombed with all the Nick Wilde pics.
yeah. No, those drinks, whatever those drinks were that you got at those restaurants looked really good. Like
They
the
were really
Duffman
good.
beer. From the
Actually, since we are recording a group of 3 episodes, how about I describe one drink each episode? There?
All right, that sounds great.
All right. I'll save the story of how I met Nick Wilde for the end of this podcast.
Okay.
But right now we are talking about minute 3 of Zootopia, and our minute starts when Judy, our protagonist, proclaims on the stage with the beautiful painted backdrop that the kids did of Zootopia, saying, "Anyone can be anything." And our minute ends when her parents try to convince her to join the family profession of carrot farming.
Mhm. Pretty much when her dad is like, amen to that. So it's 3:00 to 3:59 for those following along.
So, what do you think about this minute? We're already 3 minutes in, and we already review a lot. Like, she has a very, very big family, and her
Yeah.
parents seem to be typical parents.
Well, that's one of those great examples where Disney will put in a joke that they know probably only the adults in the audience are going to understand. Having a rabbit having that many siblings, yes, very common joke. There were some interesting details that I noticed watching it this time around that I didn't notice the first time I saw the movie. One
like what?
being that it was a talent show that they were actually having. The sign up above the stage says Carrot Day's talent show, and I didn't realize that. I had assumed it was like a school play or something.
Yeah, me too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
You should pay
well,
more
because
attention than I have.
It didn't really seem like a talent show. It seemed a lot more like, yeah, a play. I don't really know what sort of talents they were showing up.
Well, the
No,
thing
you know
is,
what? Who had the most talent in there was the kid playing all the instruments.
yes, I was going to mention him. My favorite character is back, the little cougar sound effects guy.
Yes.
Super adorable. But no, going back to what you said about the Carrot Days talent show, when I first watched this, I assumed Carrot Days is probably something like a state fair, because it looks a lot like a
Yeah.
state fair.
Or a county
And-
fair or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
county fair. And at a lot of state fairs and county fairs, you have the various states recreating whatever historical thing is happening that time. Like in
Mhm.
Texas, they'll probably have recreations of the founding of Texas. So I assumed first time watching it that they were just recreating the founding of Zootopia, which would be perfectly in line with any type of celebration of that type.
Because they're on the outskirts, kind of. They're not like super far from the town.
What's interesting is that its name is Carrot Days, so obviously carrots are a big thing. And bunnies, of course, are very big with eating and growing carrots. So you assume that probably bunnies are the majority population in this world,
Yeah, well, I'm wondering about that too. Like, pretty much.
because we only see her family.
Yeah, pretty much all of the characters you see, or a huge portion of them anyway, are all rabbits. And then there's like one or two that aren't, like Gideon Gray, the fox,
And the lamb.
the lamb. Yeah,
sheep,
like
and
I
the
don't know
tiger
what
one-
they're doing.
the weird
They must
tiger
be
out.
maybe they're exchange students or something. That'd be the perfect opening for an anime taking place in this small town because it's always an exchange student in a
Well,
school.
I mean, like, you go to any place, you're gonna see like someone who's not from that culture there, so it's understandable. I mean, you go to the deep south, you see some random Asian people there, so I mean,
Well,
it
but
makes
what's
sense.
so weird is that he's so very straight off the bat, he's so anti-bunny. He's like, "You're just a dumb bunny. You're not gonna
Wait, I
sum
think
up to
you're
anything," you know?
well. You
I
little
mean,
bunny are moving ahead too quick because Gideon is not for the next minute. So
yeah, well, you see a bit of his character when he
that's
comments.
true.
So, I mean,
Hmm.
it's just so weird because it's like, what are you doing in this like all rabbit town if you are not a big fan of rabbits in the first place?
Well, again, you can't choose where you're born or where you grow up, so it's understandable, I guess, because it's like reality. You can't
He's
really
not
choose.
he is not properly assimilated into this rabbit culture.
Or maybe he has, because he seems very, very hillbilly. Like,
Oh, so now all rabbits are hillbillies. Is that
I'm
it?
guessing. I'm guessing that's. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, that 275 brothers and sisters Judy Hopps has, stuff, which is revealed, which is a lot. So does that mean that that entire city is her family, or?
Well, no. Okay, I was gonna comment on this too. I had assumed that that was the case the first time I saw the movie, but looking at this minute, I realized that when they're walking out of the barn and walking through all these different stalls, they arrive at their booth. That is like specifically their family booth because it says like Hops Farms or something on it. And I hadn't noticed that before. So I guess there must be more than one family of rabbits. But
But I mean, like they could be like close relatives, like cousins and all that
right.
stuff. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's all
thinking.
one clan, right? It's a polygamous clan. This is like the
Well, they're
Zootopia-
hillbillies, like we said. They're interbred.
the animal version of Utah. I mean, what?
Okay, we're getting off the top.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, so one of the things I think that hit me, and especially when I was watching in theaters, a lot of people reacted was Judy's parents saying, "Oh yes, we settled hard," which
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
we came out of high school. We both came out of college recently, and we are like realizing that's kind of the world. You have to just kind of settle.
I
with
mean,
something.
that's this scene. That whole dialogue they have spoke to me so hard, especially the first time I saw it. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like that is what I'm afraid of as a young adult.
You don't want to be a parent like that.
No, I'd be a parent eventually, sure. But what I'm saying is, I don't want to settle for.
It's like you don't want to be those types of parents.
Yeah, I don't want to settle for the best I can find. Like I would prefer to, drive my own path forward.
Which
I
I
wouldn't
think is
want-
the reason why it hit a lot of people in our generation a lot because
For sure.
we like especially when we go later on I'm going to talk about later how I identify with Judy and Nick and some of the later scenes, but specifically like for this part, yeah, like for us millennials kind of coming into the real world and realizing okay, it's not that easy to get the dream job you want, and just getting a job is already very hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want to have that impression that I'll just settle with whatever I have, but that's like our fear and kind of manifests itself into reality is with a lot of people in our generation, and then seeing this happening in a Disney movie, it's like, oh, okay, it's hitting very close to the mark.
Disney really knows how to be relevant to the times. Like this, they know that in this economy, the way that things have turned out, yeah, there's a lot of people that are just gonna be kind of getting by for quite a while. And there's this common public perception that that's sort of a part of your life that you're supposed to move past. You're not going to be flipping burgers your whole life. You're going to move on and get a career. But the reality for a lot of people is that that's not something that's super easy to do. And I'm not saying it's totally unattainable.
Have you seen? Okay, I forgot who the artist was, but there is a comic that's been circulating around a lot on the internet where it shows two different people growing up. One comes from a well-off family, so his parents could afford to give him good medicine, send him to like expensive schools, get tutoring, and it shows another girl whose family is not well-off, that they worry about her not getting sick, like her getting like a B is like awesome.
I
in
definitely
comparison.
see this at some point. I think
Yeah.
it was on Tumblr at some point, but I don't remember all the details. It
And
was a
then
while
at
ago.
the end, it shows eventually the person who was well off and had everything going for him basically believes that he got there on his own because that's what people keep around him keep telling him. Oh, you're doing great. You're getting here on your own. While the other girl who kind of worked very, very hard ends up being the waiter at this guy's rich party.
Yeah, I definitely saw this exact comic.
And the sad, I guess the sad truth is that's kind of is how society is. It's not a political or social thing, but that sometimes just your situation in life plays a big role in dictating who you become in the future, no matter
course.
how hard you try. And I think this is, especially Zootopia, is a story that plays around with this trope, especially with when they mention, there's never been a bunny cop. So she's already working against all of this. And I guess, spoiler, we're not going to give any spoilers, but we're going to see how she eventually
I wonder
joins the
how
police
she
department.
does.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, and I think that comic hit very close to home with a lot of people of our generation, and it's probably the same reason why Zootopia does as well.
But of course, I mean, on the flip side of that, personal aspirations and goals and motivation and your willingness to strive for something is a huge factor in determining where you will end up as well. And I think one of my favorite lines, honestly, in this entire movie is that line that Judy says where her parents are both saying, like, no, there's never been a bunny cop. That's not something bunnies do ever. And she's just like, oh, well, I'll just have to be the first one then. That spoke to me a lot too, because
Yes.
especially in like recent years, that's sort of the attitude that I'm trying to take in my approach to life and getting
That
places.
is
So
that yeah, because she said that basically, okay, so I watching this movie for the first time, the young Judy up until her military her police academy graduation was basically me, that young optimistic type. Like, when I was young, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be a Marine officer, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, I wanted to be a doctor, all this stuff. And I was told, oh, the Marines are like the only branch that don't have their own medical corps. They don't have any doctors.
that
And I was
true?
like, oh, I'm gonna be the first Marine. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the first Marine doctor. So I mean, I was kind of like that. Like, if there was like a job I really, really wanted and it didn't exist, I will say, oh no, I will be the first to do that. So the young Judy, her optimistic outlook on life was very, very hit close to home to me, because that's kind of how I was like. And then eventually I became a Nick, but
well, I mean, to be fair, those aren't entirely analogous situations either, where in her case, it's no one like us has done this job before. And what you're describing, this is a job that does not yet exist.
yeah, that's true. But in similar contexts, there have been times where I've have that optimistic outlook, which I realized actually going to Disney World this last week made me realize a lot of the the childhood wishfulness and longing and dreaming, the belief that your dreams can come true, that you can wish upon a star, all that stuff was kind of all gone, because like in the last few years since college I've been more cynical and probably more rational and real, been more of a realist. And then going to Disney World for the first time, and then like I actually bought into the magic and stuff, and this ties into
Buy
what we were
that
talking about.
corporate magic.
Well, that's
That
just ties
Disney
into when we talk
mass-produced
about
magic.
we talk about Disney. Like, they actually do stuff well, and I was actually impressed. Like, the Disney parks are the most highly attended theme parks
Anywhere,
in the world.
yeah.
And when we think about it, not only they're not known for their theme parks, they're known for their movies, but they also, make anime movies and live actions. They have TV shows. They own ABC television.
Yeah.
Now they own Marvel, Lucas, Muppets,
I mean, Disney is one of
Winnie the
those
Pooh.
massive conglomerates at this point. Basically, they're
Yeah,
everywhere.
but yet they make stuff really good. Like, all the products are still good. The Marvel movies are still coming out good. The Pixar movies are still coming out good. They're their cruise line is the highest rated cruise line, and that isn't their main gig.
No, it really.
Which-
Although, can we say it isn't at this point? I mean, they definitely started with animation, obviously, but I mean,
Yeah.
they've expanded into these other markets unrelated to animation so much that, you could almost say, I mean, if you were to divide Disney up and say the theme park part of Disney is now its own separate unrelated company, the animation part is all one separate company, and then all the like TV news, like whatever else they own is all one separate thing. I think they would be fairly self-sufficient, right? Like I don't think money from the movies, I'm saying this, but I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Are the theme parks self-sufficient? Like if it doesn't get
I assume they would be. I haven't. Again, I think we have a rule that we're not going to. We only get one Google search each episode. So I'm not going to waste my Google search yet.
what are we going to use it else on then? I don't know. We'll see.
You could look up, but yeah, they're still under one corporation. One president is in charge of all of it. But I think we're going off topic. But since we're on the topic of Disneyland, anyways, and I mean Disney World, do you want to guess which drink I had at Disney World?
Well, you had several, didn't you?
I had several. Okay, I'll name the big one.
Okay.
So, in Universal Orlando, the Harry Potter world, the famous drink there is butterbeer.
Uh-huh. That's not Disney though.
Yeah, Disneyland created their own version. So they revamped the Fantasyland area. But of course, it's my first time, so for me, it's like magical. I got to eat at a Beauty and Beast castle, a restaurant called Be Our Guest. It was awesome because it's the one restaurant that's consistently booked, and we've been checking for months to try to get reservations. It was all booked, and we got one like just a few days before we went. So
Nice.
very excited. I did try the gray stuff. The gray stuff was delicious.
The gray stuff?
Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. Remember in our Be Our Guest song, they said try the gray stuff. It's delicious.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in ages. Sorry. That went right over my head.
Okay,
continue.
So I had the gray stuff. Afterwards, we went to an area. We went to Gaston's Tavern, which was a place that used to serve giant pork shanks, which looked so good, but they didn't have it anymore. They serve a bunch of different concoctions, and their big drink there was called Lefroux's Brew, which Lefroux's is the sidekick of Gaston, and his drink is basically an apple cider slushy that has marshmallow flavoring, and it's topped with a passion fruit mango foam. So
Ooh.
it's really good. Though I think me and my friends like the butterbeer a bit more, and which is weird because most of the popular consensus is that the Lefroux's Brew is better. I thought I would like the foam because I love passion fruit mango flavoring, but the foam didn't really taste too good, to be honest. It tasted like the foam that you'll get like if you shake up a orange juice carton.
Oh,
Like that residue.
that kind of
It's-
like
it
weirdly bitter almost, sort of.
I liked it because it was tart and fruity, as opposed to butterbeer, which was very, very sweet. This one's very tart and fruity, so I liked it. But I'm not sure I liked it better than butterbeer, but it was great to try at least once, and it was awesome because they actually recreated the inside of the tavern that Gaston was in the movie. So you had a giant lamp hanging down made of all deer antlers.
That's great.
I think I'll post these pictures on the Twitter later so people can see. But there's also a chair that Gaston sat in, and it has like all the wool rugs on it, and there's a giant picture of him. And outside there's a giant statue of Gaston just standing, and like beer is pouring from the little barrels. And what was really cool was they had one of the cast members dressed as Gaston signing autographs for people out front. And he was very humorous because like there's a long line of different female fans going up to him, and they give him the autograph book, and he's like, "Books? What is this? Women shouldn't be reading books. Here, I'll make the book better. I wrote my name in it. There you go."
Yeah, the people they get to play characters at Disneyland, Disney World are fantastic at what they do. And because they're very selective with it too. It's, they want to keep it as immersive as possible, so they need to get really good people for that. It's like what I strive for. It's my example to follow when I'm being hoofbeats at BronyCon.
So if you're an awesome cosplayer, if people don't know, they could check out your Tumblr, and you have such amazing cosplay photos. But if you could, be a Disney character at the park as an official Disney character, which one would you be then?
Oh man,
Actually, I already have an idea. You would make an awesome Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Ooh, that was one of the ones I was maybe gonna say.
You already have the right hair for Peter Pan. You don't even have to dye your hair.
He
And I
seems
think
like red though. I would have to dye it a bit.
you might a little bit. And we often joke that you keep on telling me that you always look younger than how you actually are. That's why you've been growing your sideburns.
Yeah, so I'll just ditch
you
the
already have
sideburns.
Yeah, then you'll look like Peter Pan. I think it'll be awesome.
Contour on there, just look totally ridiculously baby-faced. Could dig it.
I didn't see Peter. He wasn't signing, but I saw him briefly. He was leading around cast members.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, okay. So that was my first drink from my vacation we were talking about, and it was a good drink. And I'll let you know how I feel about the other drinks in the future episodes. But
Cool.
okay, back to this one.
Oh yeah, Zootopia.
Carrot
That's
farming.
what we're talking about.
Carrot farming.
Yeah, carrot
juice.
farming. No kidding. Did you see how many different... Like, I have a feeling the layout artists, the people designing the virtual set for that scene, had a lot of fun coming up with all these different carrot-themed booths and products and stuff being sold at this carrot festival in this rabbit town.
Which is funny because, as someone who vends at conventions, I love looking at all the different types of booths there, and this one kind of nails the, the street fair type.
Yeah, well, it was funny because it's
booths
like,
and stuff.
let's see, there were booths selling actual carrots, there were carrot balloons, there were stuffed animal carrots, like just stuffed plush carrots.
Do you think in this world, instead of furries, they have veggies?
Oh my god.
So, like, characters who are veggies
Now I'm
and
just
have
picturing a
vegetable sonas.
veggie convention.
Like VeggieTales.
Yeah.
VeggieTales would be big in this world, and they have like their veggie sona. I'm a carrot. I'm an eggplant.
My veggie
I don't know.
sona's kale. It's a superfood.
What would be the dragon of this world? Would that be
dragon?
like dragon fruit?
Dragon fruit. I don't know. Do you think there would be a schism
Durian?
between... It's like, hey man, that's not a vegetable, that's a fruit. Like the tomato comes in. We all know you're not really a vegetable. Get out of here. You're not welcome here. Your kind isn't welcome here.
It's funny. The United States it's the Congress or Supreme Court. One of them declared that tomatoes are vegetables.
Yeah, for like sales purposes, tax purposes or something. So like botanically speaking, taxonomically, it is a fruit because it contains the seeds of the plant. But the way it's used in most culinary preparations anyway, it's treated as if it's a vegetable. So, and it doesn't have like the sweet kind of flavor that people associate with fruit. So people just call it a vegetable, even though it's obviously a fruit. Carrots are
Supreme Court.
vegetables though, because they're the root
Yes.
of the plant.
They're like tubers.
I don't know if they're technically tubers. Tubers are fat.
Maybe.
Big, thick
Yeah. Okay.
knots of
So,
root.
what do you think? Do you think all they eat is carrots? Because I can imagine that gets really boring. Is it like Ireland where all they eat is potatoes? Like, do they have to make mashed carrots and carrot pie?
No, I mean, they're definitely getting their vitamin A. That's for sure. Must have,
Well, they were bunnies.
yeah, pretty good eyesight from that. But no, I was just thinking, it wasn't just carrots that they were selling. There were some people selling flowers, I think. There's like a little flower booth there. And like
can't eat
other
flowers.
fresh vegetables besides carrots, but it was definitely very carrot heavy. I mean, the festival was called Carrot Days.
Actually, you just remind me. You mentioned like vitamin A. I was like, your bunny character shouldn't have glasses then.
It's okay. It's okay. We can make a sacrifice in realism.
All right. I think we covered that minute pretty well. So, anything else before we wrap up?
I guess final thoughts on that minute are just, clearly what they tried to do with this scene is to sort of establish Judy's character and like the type of person she was growing up. She's got big aspirations. She's not afraid to think outside the box. She knows that there's certain factors working against her. I think from the beginning, like even while she was in the academy, that kind of thing, she knows that she's at a disadvantage compared to everyone else, but she's willing to work through it. And I think this is a really good way of showing how this is something that's been a part of her since she was young. So it's important to establish that kind of thing and see where it goes when she's an adult. So good scene. Yeah, good minute.
All right. And if you want to learn more about the Zootopia Minute podcast, you could follow us on Twitter at Zootopia Minute. If you want to write to us, you could write to us at zootopiaminute@gmail.com. And you could also follow me on Twitter at meta_artist.
You can follow me on Twitter at Coldaino, my real name, super weird spell, COLEDAIGNEAULT. Follow me on Tumblr, Simulpony, SIMULPONY.
All right, we'll see you for episode 4, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.